Before the shadows fell, Willow Creek was the kind of place you read about in storybooks. Nestled between rolling hills and endless fields, it was a town where time seemed to slow down, and every sunrise brought a sense of hope. The air was always fresh, tinged with the scent of wildflowers and the distant hum of cicadas. People greeted each other by name, and every face was familiar. Every corner held a memory. Neighbors weren't just people next door, they were family, sharing everything from sugar to stories. On warm evenings, laughter drifted from porch to porch, and the sound of children's games echoed down the quiet streets. If someone was in need, help arrived before you could even ask. Birthdays, anniversaries, and even the smallest victories were celebrated together, turning ordinary days into cherished memories. Life moved at a gentle pace, marked by potlucks, parades, and the smell of fresh bread from the old bakery. The annual Harvest Festival brought everyone together, filling the air with music, laughter, and the aroma of homemade pies. Children would race down Main Street during the parade, waving flags and collecting candy, while elders swapped stories beneath the shade of the old maple trees. The heart of town was Main Street, lined with family businesses and the cozy Reading Nook bookstore. Each shop had its own story, passed down through generations, and every window displayed a piece of the town's history. The shopkeepers knew their customers by name, and every purchase came with a smile and a bit of friendly conversation. People felt safe here, doors unlocked, kids playing until dusk, and women moving confidently through their days. Trust was the foundation of Willow Creek, and the sense of security was woven into the fabric of daily life. Parents watched from porches as their children played, knowing the whole town was looking out for them. Crime was a distant rumor, not a reality. The police station often sat empty, its doors open more for friendly visits than emergencies. The biggest excitement was usually a lost pet or a missing bicycle, quickly found and returned with a neighborly grin. The peace felt permanent, as solid as the old oak in the town square. Its roots ran deep, just like the bonds between the people who called Willow Creek home. Under its sprawling branches, generations had gathered for picnics, proposals, and quiet moments of reflection. But even the strongest trees can be shaken by an unexpected storm, and one was quietly gathering on the horizon. As the wind began to shift and clouds rolled in, Willow Creek stood on the edge of change, unaware that its peace was about to be tested in ways it had never imagined. The change began subtly, a purse snatched at the grocery store, a moment so quick and quiet that most people barely noticed. It was the kind of thing that could happen anywhere, but in Willow Creek, it felt out of place, like a cold wind on a summer day. At first, people shrugged it off, thinking it was just a fluke, a rare misfortune in a town where everyone knew each other's names. But then, a wallet gone from the coffee shop. A regular, someone everyone recognized, left her bag for just a moment, only to return and find her wallet missing. Whispers started to spread. Was it carelessness or something more? At first, people blamed forgetfulness, thinking maybe they'd left things behind or misplaced them in the rush of daily life. But as the days passed, more stories surfaced. Keys, phones, and small valuables vanishing without a trace. Soon, a pattern emerged. Women, especially mothers and the elderly, were being targeted. The realization crept in slowly, unsettling the routines of everyday life. Mothers gripped their children's hands a little tighter, and elderly women walked together, glancing over their shoulders. The thief was invisible, vanishing before anyone noticed. Security cameras caught only shadows, a blur of movement, never a clear face. It was as if the culprit melted into the background, always one step ahead. Fear crept in, replacing the town's easy confidence. People who once left their doors unlocked now double-checked every lock. The simple act of walking down Main Street felt different. Eyes darted, steps quickened, and conversations grew hushed. Women clutched their purses tighter, locked car doors, and kept their belongings close, even in places that once felt safe. The sense of community was still there, but it was tinged with suspicion and unease. In checkout lines, whispered warnings passed from one person to another. Friends exchanged stories in hushed tones, wondering who might be next and whether the thief was someone they knew. The police tried to help, but the thief left no trace. Officers increased patrols, detectives examined every clue, but the evidence was always just out of reach. Frustration grew as the community realized that the answers wouldn't come easily. The thefts were small, but the damage was deep. Willow Creek's sense of safety was slipping away. The town's spirit, once so open and trusting, now felt guarded and tense. Mothers worried about their children, parks felt less joyful, and laughter on the playground was tinged with anxiety. Even the most familiar places seemed changed, as if shadows lingered where sunlight used to fall. The thief was stealing more than wallets. He was stealing peace of mind. People sat alone, lost in thought, wondering how long it would be before things returned to normal, or if they ever would. The town felt changed, as if a dangerous secret lurked just beneath its surface. Neighbors gathered in small groups, speaking in low voices, their trust in each other shaken. Everyone was on edge, waiting for the next victim. Each day brought new rumors, new fears, and a growing sense that the Willow Creek they knew was slipping away. The warm embrace of Willow Creek now felt cold and uncertain. The town's heart still beat, but it was quieter, more cautious, as everyone wondered when, or if, the calm would ever return. At the center of this unease was Emily Carter, mother, bookstore manager, and the heart of the reading nook. Emily was practical and kind, always looking out for her neighbors. The thefts angered her. She hated seeing fear take root in her town. She became more vigilant, reminding customers to keep their bags close. Emily believed in standing up for others, teaching her children to do the same. She never imagined she'd be tested so publicly. On a Tuesday afternoon, arranging books in the sunlit window, she was just Emily, unaware that a split-second decision would soon change everything. In moments, she would be forced to act, setting her on a collision course with the law. The bell chimed. Mrs. Gable, elderly and trusting, entered the store, followed by a man with shifty eyes. Emily's instinct screamed. Something was wrong. The man hovered near Mrs. Gable, then, in a flash, snatched her wallet. Emily didn't hesitate. She shouted, "Stop! Put it back!" The thief bolted, but Emily grabbed his arm, refusing to let go. Startled, the man dropped the wallet and fled, leaving Emily shaken but triumphant. Mrs. Gable hadn't even realized she'd been targeted. Emily had stopped the thief and protected her customer. In that moment, she was a hero. But her brave act was just the beginning. The story was far from over. Emily's life and her town were about to be turned upside down. At first, Emily was celebrated. Flowers, cards, and gratitude poured in. Willow Creek finally had a champion. But days later, everything changed. The thief pressed charges, claiming Emily had unlawfully detained him. The law, written in another era, was not on her side. Citizens' arrest statutes were vague. Emily's intervention, though heroic, was technically unlawful restraint. The prosecutor, bound by the law, filed charges. Outrage swept the town and the story went national. Emily Carter, once a hero, was now at the center of a fierce legal debate. Her act of courage had exposed a flaw in the system, and her nightmare was just beginning. Willow Creek rallied for Emily. What began as a quiet concern soon grew into a movement that swept through every street and home. Neighbors who had barely spoken before now found themselves united by a common cause, their voices rising together in support of one of their own. "We Stand with Emily" signs filled shop windows, transforming the town's main street into a living testament of solidarity. Local businesses, from the bakery to the hardware store, displayed banners and posters, making it clear that Emily was not alone. Yellow ribbons lined the square, fluttering in the breeze as a symbol of hope and resilience. Each ribbon tied by a friend, a neighbor, or even a stranger was a silent promise that the community would not give up. Donations poured in for a legal defense fund. Jars sat on every counter, and people gave what they could. Spare change, a few dollars, or sometimes just a note of encouragement. The fund grew, fueled by the belief that justice was worth fighting for. The town, once fractured by fear, united in purpose. Residents packed council meetings, shared their fears, and spoke openly about the changes they wanted to see. The air buzzed with determination and a newfound sense of community. They demanded change, not just for Emily, but for every family who called Willow Creek home. Voices that had once been silent now rang out, calling for justice and protection for all. Neighborhood watch groups formed, and people looked out for one another in ways they never had before. The sense of responsibility and care for each other grew stronger with every passing day. Rallies drew crowds from neighboring towns. People traveled miles to stand shoulder to shoulder with Willow Creek, their banners and chants echoing through the streets, amplifying the call for justice. Ordinary citizens led the charge, writing letters to officials, starting petitions, and organizing events. Every signature, every letter was a step toward change. Emily's story spread online, reaching people far beyond the town's borders. Social media became a powerful tool, connecting supporters and drawing national attention to the cause. The media spotlight shifted to the town's powerful response. News crews arrived, capturing the determination and unity that had taken hold of Willow Creek. Willow Creek refused to let fear or outdated laws define them. Instead, they chose to be defined by their courage and their willingness to stand up for what was right. They demanded laws that reflected their values, courage, resilience, and the belief that everyone deserves to feel safe in their own home. Compassion and community became the heart of Willow Creek. Neighbors comforted one another, and volunteers worked tirelessly to support Emily and her family. The fight was bigger than Emily. It was about standing up for justice, for dignity, and for the right to protect one another. The world was watching as Willow Creek showed what a united community could achieve. Their story became a beacon of hope, inspiring others to believe that change is possible when people come together. Public pressure forced lawmakers to act. The prosecutor dropped charges, but the law's flaws remained. Inspired by Willow Creek, legislators drafted the Emily Carter Act. Emily testified, sharing her story as a mother and neighbor. The new law clarified when citizens could intervene and protected Good Samaritans acting in good faith. It balanced rights and responsibilities, ensuring courage wouldn't be punished. The act passed with overwhelming support. On signing day, Emily and her town stood together, a victory for all who wondered, should I get involved? The law sent a clear message. Standing up for others is a civic virtue. A small-town theft had sparked big-time change. The Emily Carter Act changed everything. Now, citizens can act to stop a crime, confident the law is on their side if they act reasonably. The law especially empowers women, upending the idea that they're easy targets. It encourages everyone to protect their community, not just watch from the sidelines. Willow Creek's story is now taught as a lesson in courage and reform. The peace that returned is stronger, born from resilience, not naivety. The law stands as a monument to community strength and the power of one person's bravery. Willow Creek's legacy is a safer, more united future. Emily Carter's story is more than a small-town drama. It's a call to action. She was an ordinary woman who chose courage over silence. Her story reminds us that our instincts and voices matter. The Emily Carter Act is more than legislation. It's a declaration of our values. It empowers us to be upstanders, not bystanders. Communities thrive when people look out for each other. Willow Creek's legacy is hope and empowerment. Our choices, big or small, can change the world. The safety of our communities belongs to all of us. That's a lesson worth remembering, today and every day.